Hey everybody, it's Brian Marvel, one half host of the Gateway Gamers podcast. Just hitting you up with some behind the scenes stuff real quick. So if you've been a long time listener and you've seen the title, you'll know that we've covered this game forever ago. It was actually our second episode. Due to some mix up with Spotify and what they deemed copyrighted music, they decided to take the episode down. We can't insert it back where it belongs, so we're just kind of releasing it as a Matinee Monday episode, and it'll just kind of go in the normal rotation again. We just don't want to lose the episode just because we put a lot of work into it and don't want to lose it. Um, I will just give you some background on Ticket to Ride. Since we've played it, I have actually purged this game. Um, as you listen, I enjoy it. It's just not a game that I need in my collection because I have so many other ones that are so similar. But that's kind of it. Happy Monday. Happy 4th of July coming up. And thank you for listening and enjoy the show.
Two unqualified morons playing tabletop. This is the Gateway Gamers podcast.
Hello, welcome to the Gateway Gamers podcast. I'm Brian.
And I'm RP.
And this is episode 2. We did it.
Yeah,
We made it.
We made it to the second one.
We made it. We're done. We're official.
We're over the hump.
Start applying to whatever podcast awards exist.
Yeah, and just try to get on a network. Forever Dog or Earwolf.
Earwolf's the one I know. How this get me? Just constantly yelling at me.
Just pick us up.
Yeah.
Start paying for our crap.
Yep.
In our games.
Yeah. So here we are. A week later from the last episode. I'm feeling a lot better. My allergies are gone.
You sound better.
Yes, I know. Better. Thank you. I look better as well. So, we actually got some games in while we were gone this week. We went to the Evil Genius Brewery here in Philadelphia for someone's birthday.
Brian's birthday.
It was my birthday. I turned
75.
And we got together and we played some games at the brewery, which was an interesting experience because I'm not...
this is your first time to the brewery.
Well, it was my first time to brewery, and I'm not an outgoing gaming person. Like, I'm very shy and anxious, so kind of playing in public like that was a very different experience. We played Flux, Marvel's Flux, another IP game, and Skull, which is one of my favorite games. And
yeah, I mean, it helps too that the brewery welcomes game playing. Most breweries, if you've at least around this area, welcome game playing. Yeah. But these games are very, it's not like you got to bring a big box. It's very easy to play.
Bar friendly, especially Skull. Like if you, Skull's. How would you explain that? It's
Skulls looks like you're flipping a
beer
coaster.
It looks like you're flipping coasters. So it's. I think it's a variation.
Didn't your wife mess up and think it was a coaster?
No,
before?
That was Shane.
Oh,
and
Shane!
I almost murdered him. You were actually the one that were like. Shane. So we were sitting at the table, and he just goes to put his drink down. He came over as I was dealing the coasters, and he just starts putting his drink down. And you were like, Shane's not a coaster. And I was too dead inside. Definitely.
He did this blank stare.
Yeah, I was lost. I was gone.
Over,
yeah, I can never buy that $15 game again. It's
you
gone.
got that on a deal, right?
Yeah. I think it normally was like 20, 25. But I got it at GameStop. GameStop's insane with their sales because they're going out of business. I think I got that game like 75% off.
A couple years ago,
A couple years ago, yeah. And even the guy I was buying, he was like, I was going to buy them and use them as coasters. I was like, it's a great game. What are you doing?
I can't believe you said that.
To my face. I was like, oh, you're... And
you smacked him.
I threw my money in his face and walked out. But... Skull was a hit. We had a few people come over, ask what we're doing, because it literally looked like we were flipping coasters around the table. And
they looked at us like we were crazy.
Yeah, so Skull is I don't know, what is that considered?
I would just play, it's a game of...
Liars. You're lying, essentially.
Like it's more of like a game of chance.
Yeah, it's...
because as you play, it's like betting.
Yeah, so you get 4 coasters. 3 of them have roses on them. One of them has skulls on them. And each player has the same. They're just different colors. And then on your turn, you put one of your coasters down, face down.
So they don't. So nobody sees.
Yeah, so nobody sees. The next person puts a coaster down, and again, you don't know what it is. Next person either puts a coaster down or bets a number. So the betting the number is I can flip X amount on the table, and they'll all be roses and no skulls. So the trick is that they stack eventually. So eventually, when it comes back around you start stacking your coasters. I keep forgetting to say coasters, like it's
Yeah.
some word I never heard of. So, and then eventually you'll be like, all right, like I bet I can flip 4. So you start with yours, and then you pick whatever other coasters are on table. As long as they're all roses, you win that round. If you could do that twice,
Yeah, one of the
you're the
things too
winner.
is you don't have to go in like a circle. You can pick.
Yeah, you have to flip yours first. So
Yes.
if you, it's happened multiple times
Mm-hmm.
from people I played with, and actually happened at the bar where somebody bet like, oh, I could pick 3, and then realized their face down was a skull, so they flipped theirs first and they were out. Like
Yeah.
you, if you're not paying attention, you could forget real easily. It's a great game. I think it's a good like party game. It's quick. It's simple. It's definitely one that
It's not super detailed.
it's not.
You
It's,
learn. It's like teaching somebody Uno. Very easy.
yeah, it's one round. Like, oh, how do you play this? Watch this real quick. Boom, boom,
Yep.
boom.
Now the counter of that Flux was a little bit more difficult, and people do not like it as much for various reasons.
Yeah, so Flux is a very divisive card game. My wife hates that game with a capital H.
So she naturally did not play.
Yeah. You enjoyed it.
I like that game,
Yeah.
yeah.
The version that we played is the Marvel version, which there are. I don't even know how many versions there are. There's like a Wizard of Oz version. There's
a Wizard of Oz version?
Yes,
What?
that's why I
Let me
started
go-
with that.
Let me go order that right now.
So there's a Wizard of Oz version, there's a zombie version, there's a Stoners version, there's literally a version for anything. I think there's a Batman probably. So this version has all Marvel characters. So the point of the game is like the title, the rules are constantly in flux. They're constantly changing around. So there's a card on the middle of the table, and the only rule is draw 1, play 1. So you have a hand of, I forget how many cards you start with.
Is it 3?
Yeah, it's a low number. You start low.
3 or 5.
Yeah, and then you draw 1, and then you play 1. So you have what are called keepers, which are characters you put down in front of you, and then there's action cards that change the rules. So if I have like a play 3 card, then I change the rules from draw 1, play 3. It gets chaotic. It gets wild. There's also the pink cards that are your goal cards. That's how you win. So if you have a goal, have like Spider-Man and Iron Man in front of you. If you have them in front of you, you win. But that's constantly in flux, as they say.
Yeah,
so,
so like you can have this grand plan, and you're like, okay, cool. I have Spider-Man in my hand. I have this other card in my hand, and I'm gonna play it. And you might have another rule where you can steal from somebody, and somebody's Iron Man.
Yeah, it's someone. There's a card that like just gets rid of all the rules,
Yeah.
clears the table. There's one where you play your entire hand. I think at one point it was like draw. I think like 5. It was something the same, like draw 5, play all. So you were drawing 5 cards and you had to play them. Literally, as you're playing them, you're affecting the game. The game is in shift. You have characters in front of you. The goals are changing. So it's a game that I played that could go.
It's an interesting concept.
Yeah, it's super simple once you kind of understand it. I think the biggest problem with it is once you kind of get deep and there's 30 rules on the table possibly, that's when it's like, whoa.
Yep.
But it's fun. I mean, I think some of the other versions, I think this is a more kiddie version, I would call it, because there are other versions that have, like I said, there's the keepers that go in front of you, and then there's, I forget what the
Which a keeper would be like Spider-Man.
Yeah, so all
like
there's good things. In other versions, they're called creepers. So there's a zombie version I have where it's like you have survivors and like a bat, a car, and then there's creepers where they're like zombies in front of you. And if you have a zombie in front of you, you can't win no matter what you do. You can have all the, and then there's a card where you win if you only have zombies. You're the zombie lord, it's called.
That?
Yeah, so it depending on the version you play, there's different rules. The Marvel one I think is the most, I think, kind of basic kid version. There's no real take that.
And it's also that IP, like it's inviting.
Yeah,
People
again,
see
the art's
IP.
beautiful because it's beautiful
It's
Marvel
comic book art.
characters.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
the art is really good for it though. I mean, I mean those are, and again, like people came over and are like, "What are you doing?" Because there was, it looked like we just threw cards on the
Yeah.
table because at one
It
point
was
there was
mainly
so.
our waitress was like, what
Well,
game is this?
yeah, she wasn't thrilled with us because when you have nowhere to put the
Beers.
flights
Yeah,
because there's cards and
yeah. Everywhere.
then I'm very anal about my games and any liquids getting near them, and I'm kind of telling her, hey, could you move this to the table behind me? Yeah, we left her a good tip, so.
Yeah, that's all.
But it was a good time. Like I said, I'm not a person that normally does that, so it was a very different experience. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
People coming over again. We're gateway people in because I think that one guy was very interested in Skull. Like
Mhm.
I think it's
Did you
definitely.
tell him about to follow the Instagram?
Probably. I mean, I wore my shirt. It just I have a white shirt that just says Gateway Gamers with the hashtag and the @ so I didn't want to admit that.
That's fair. That's fair. That was yours.
Yeah. Now you also, if you're listening, follow Gateway Gamer Instagram. Any game we talk about today, we'll have up there with the episode
We
title.
posted, and we'll put the links to the games in the show notes as well. Easy click.
Yeah, I
Bada
mean,
boom.
I think Flux is $10. I think it's at Walmart.
I just looked at the Wizard of Oz one.
Friendly local game shop. Yeah, and I think
the Wizard of Oz one was 17.
Yeah, so it's probably like 15.
I'll probably buy that.
Yeah. Yeah, probably creepers to flying monkeys.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, so that's it. That's what we've been up to. Not much, but we did get some gaming in. I got RP and other people to try some games. And I mean, you generally you love Flux.
Yeah, I do.
And you liked
I like Skulls.
Yeah.
Yep. Easy games. Gateway games.
Yeah, and games you'd never heard of and never thought about or.
Yeah, because I mean, some of these games are nice for parties where you can talk in between, but you don't have to. And Skulls is definitely one where you can just still chit chat and play. And I'm a big fan of those because, I'm always just jonesing to game now.
Yeah, they're called filler games, so a nice term. And they're called a filler game, so a big heavy game, such as I won't even say Forbidden Island that we covered on our last episode, but
maybe like Villainous.
Well, that's a game that you've been jonesing to play as well when you saw that on my shelf. But no, just like it's a game between two games. It's a nice filler. Like we did a nice giant 2-hour brain burner game. Let's play Flux to kind of cleanse our palate before we jump into another game. So that's what I mean. They are. They're good filler games. They're good party games.
Mm-hmm. So what is our game for this week?
Okay, let me get my giant bag. That's not sponsored yet. If there's any sponsors out there want to sponsor the bag reveal.
And it is Ticket to Ride by Alan R. Moon.
I'm sure you heard of this game.
So I only have once the podcast Instagram has been created. Other than that, I had never heard of this game.
I didn't post this, did I?
No, you didn't.
Oh,
but
okay.
We started following, following more people.
The gateway gamer's over. Now you're becoming.
Yeah, I'm following more people on my own. I see it on the feed. Some of those have actually carried over onto previously recorded. So I see them on that feed. And this is one of the games that did pop up a lot.
Yeah,
so tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, so Ticket to Ride came out in 2004. It's a 2 to 5 player game. Like you said, created by Alan R. Moon, published by Days of Wonder. It's the 2004 Spiel des Jahres winner, which means Game of the Year, which is the highest title in board game.
So we have a winner.
A winner,
here.
absolutely. So Catan is usually referred to as the dad of like gateway gaming. I personally do not like Catan. I know it's a million people that just listened and heard me just gasped. But I don't think Catan's a good gateway game. I think it's a good game, but I think there's a lot of mechanics in that game that can be confusing. You can't sit down and be like, all right, like we're doing this. I mean, I guess you can, but it's just a lot. There's a lot more moving pieces.
Hey, if you don't like it, you don't like it.
You're right.
That's all.
I don't like Catan.
Unfollow. And if you love it, and explain to us why you love it.
Yeah, yell at me. Or why? Like I said,
leave it in the
rating.
It's
a good game, but I don't think it's a good gateway game.
Give us 5 stars. Leave it in the rating. Why you love Catan.
Yeah. Ticket to Ride, however, I think it's the best, one of the best gateway.
So
games.
Is this the original? Because I assume that there are multiple versions of Ticket to Ride.
There are a billion versions of Ticket to Ride. I don't know how many official variants there are, but if you go on BoardGameGeek.com, you can download like other maps to play on. Like there's an Alice in Wonderland map I saw today.
Oh, really?
I guarantee the way that the Marvel IP's growing, there's gonna be a Ticket to Ride Wakanda. Or like something like
Probably.
that. Like I don't.
Asgard.
Yeah, they'll figure
something.
a way out to tie it in. But there's a Europe map. There's
So which map is this?
This is the original game. So this is United States and slight bit of Canada. So this is like this is the 1900s America.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah, this game is fantastic. Little story about this game with Alan R. Moon was like he was trying to create a game that was not Monopoly essentially. Like he wanted to do a board game, didn't want to do the typical roll and move type game. Was a waiter and just failing miserably. Couldn't come up with anything. Hit up publishers. They were just like, whatever. Like you're not doing anything special. I think from what I read, he just was walking home from his job one day and was just like, oh. And it just hit him. He just knew how to make it. Like he knew about trains. He just knew like, oh, this would work. He went to I think he went to Days of Wonder, set up his prototype, started playing. Halfway through the game, smacked all the pieces off the table, and was like, you know how to play now. And they were like, wait, what? Like we want more. And a couple weeks later, they hit him up, and here it is. Like it's one of the biggest games. That? Yeah, I think it's definitely a recognizable game.
Yeah, looking at the box, it's funny you say Monopoly because I got kind of like a Monopoly vibe. Just like looking at the image on the front, and my mind started racing. Oh, okay, you're probably going to stop at a bunch of different places and collect things here and there. So do you want to do the back of the box segment?
I'll read off the flavor text off the back of the box.
Back of the box.
Ooh. New segment. October 2nd, 1900, 28 years to the day that noted London eccentric Phileas Fogg accepted and won a $20,000 bet that he could travel around the world in 80 days. Now, at the dawn of the century, it is time for a new impossible journey. Some old friends have gathered to celebrate Fogg's impetuous and lucrative gamble, and to propose a new wager of their own. The stakes, $1 million. In a winner-takes-all competition, the objective to see which of them can travel by rail to the most cities in North America in just 7 days.
All aboard! You ready to go play?
Toot toot! All right, let's go play. Hey, how are you? It's Brian, your host. While we're downstairs playing, I figured I'd explain the rules briefly since they're very easy. The point of the game is to collect points by building routes of trains from city to city. At the beginning of the game, you're given 3 cards of destinations. You have to keep one, or you could keep all 3. The destinations would include like Miami to Pittsburgh, New York to Denver. Depending on how long the route is how many points you score. However, if you don't complete these routes by the end of the game, you lose that many points. Each turn, the player will draw either 2 cards, will play trains using their cards, or will draw new destinations. The colored cards correspond with the routes on the board. If you have 5 cards of pink and you need a route that's 5 long, that's how many cards you play to complete the route. That continues until one of the opponents is out of trains and the game ends and the scores are tallied. That's it. That easy. Let's hear what we have to say. We're back. We're back from our trip across 1900s United States.
It was a fun trip to say the least.
Yeah. So what do you think?
I liked it. I think I like this game better than Forbidden Island. In our last episode. 2 different games, 2 different play styles. I said like, I guess it feels like a Monopoly vibe. It is absolutely not. I really liked it. Since I never played it before, this was something that I actually thought was interesting and unique. I've never played something like this, and I thought it was done in an interesting way. And it still teases the brain too. Of with these different cards, I used the first 3 that I drew. I used those and I connected all 3. And you got to think strategically on how to do so. I really enjoyed this game.
It's a phenomenally easy game as well. Like you also have to pay attention. This is a good you don't want people to have their phone out game, this is it, because
Yep.
you're just drawing cards. You're doing one action per turn. It's flying. At one point I was staring at you
Yep.
because I thought it was your turn, but you grabbed 2 cards without me even
Mm-hmm.
realizing it, and literally we just
Yeah.
gazed into each other's eyes for longer
like
than we should have. Yeah.
who's gonna go? Yeah.
Yeah, like I was almost laughing at him. I was like, "What's this idiot doing?" And then you just said, "Is it your turn?"
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Oh, maybe." Yeah, it's incredibly simple. Like I said, either drawing cards, playing cards, or taking more destinations. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's easy. I mean,
Yep.
it's just I don't know what else to say. Like I don't this is a game. I think this is the most gateway game
Mm-hmm.
that I own and have played. Like I can't think of anything easier.
Like,
That's also not rolling the die and moving from A to B.
so I enjoyed no dice. I dice games can be good. They can also be infuriating
Mm-hmm.
as well. I liked that the whole time it was in your hands.
Yeah, there's not a lot of luck unless you're drawing from the
Yeah.
draw pile instead of taking from the pool in front of you. Then yeah, you can kind of mitigate the luck a bit.
Yeah, and you can again play things out in your head. We chose to not go after each other. I don't know if some people do that where they try and block routes.
Yeah, I
or-
wasn't really paying attention to what you were doing, so
Yeah,
you could easily
same
kind
here.
of mess someone's plan up.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily, the cards we drew, we were on opposite sides of the map.
Yeah.
Like it literally, you
Yeah.
were on the east
I was on the
coast, I was
East
on the
Coast.
west coast.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was cool, and my mind already started going about the possibility of expansions for this
There's
type of game.
so many.
And I didn't mind the trains. I had no
Yeah.
problem with the play pieces. This
Yeah,
time.
that's the other thing. For the price point, I think the MSRP is pretty high. It says like $55, but this I feel like it's always on sale.
Mm-hmm.
It's always cheaper
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. Like it's one of those games that's everywhere. Target, Walmart, Barnes and Noble, friendly local game store. It really is one of those games. It's been I know it's been on Big Bang. I don't like Big Bang, but I know they played on there. It's been
I didn't
pretty
know
much in the zeitgeist of pop culture at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost Monopoly. It's getting to that
Well,
point.
the pieces are kind of like Monopoly hotels and
Yeah,
and
they're very
houses.
fiddly.
The interesting thing about it, though, as we sit here talking, is there was no cards that mess with you. It's not like, go directly to jail for Monopoly
Mhm.
or, with Forbidden Island, Rise the Water. No card where you pulled where it was like, oh, clear one of your tracks or anything like that.
Yeah, there's no take that mechanic, is
Mhm.
what it's called, where like you kind of mess with another player. It is
Yeah.
just like a nice casual, like
Yeah.
you do your thing, I do mine. Like maybe if our routes intersect, we can affect each other, but you can still work around it. Like
Yeah.
if you're trying to go from New York to Florida and I steal a route, as long as your train route connects to those two places, it counts as a point. So even if you want it an A to B straight line down to that city, if you need to go A, D, E, F to still get the C, you still get the points.
Right.
And then at the end of the game, you get that longest route, 10 points as well, which is
Yeah. Which I took it's funny, like I play, even though we weren't going after each other, I still had in my head that you could have gone after me at any moment. So
we got close to each other in Duluth.
Yeah,
Our
yeah.
trains met in Duluth.
So there was one moment where there was only two blank train sections to
Yeah, like gray,
to,
non-colored
to
ones.
connect, and I was worried, so I went after that first. Where some people might have tried to go after the colors, where I wasn't going for points. I was just trying to, because it's a point for each train you put down.
Yeah, it's one train is 1 point, 2 is like 3, 4 is
So I was trying to
yeah.
just do two, get me to where I need to go the quickest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it's also doing those destinations is like it's drawing more destinations is such a gamble because you lose those points at the end. So when you draw 3, you have to keep 1. So you're taking a risk of drawing like 3 really big points that you might not be able to complete, where if you need to go from like Winnipeg to New York, it's like 20 something points. If you can't do that, that's 20 something points from your end game. That could really mess you up. And the one time I played with my brother, that was his strategy was hoarded cards, because you don't have a hand limit. So he was hoarding cards, hoarding colors, hoarding colors, hoarding colors.
but you were doing that for a while
Yeah,
because you
but
needed them.
You do, but he was also every once in a while grabbing destination cards and wanted to get rid of any of them.
Oh, okay.
He's a wild man.
Yeah.
It went surprisingly okay for him. The only problem with that is the end game triggers when you're running out trains. So as I was throwing my tracks down, he had to play a bit of catch up. So that's how he ended up losing, was a few of the bigger routes that he couldn't complete. But he did damn good. I was surprised. I was like, wow, that's a good strategy.
I like that it's all in your hands,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I think I really like about this game. Yeah, I think that's. Do you have anything to add?
No, I mean
I can't wait to play it again. I'll be honest,
really.
I would love to see like a IP expansion on this. You know, what something cool could be with Marvel is some of the destinations are where the Infinity Stones are. Like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like I said, the way they're throwing the Marvel IP out, I'm surprised if not working on one, if
Yeah.
it's not already like in production, like ready to go. And like I said, it's like Ticket to Ride Wakanda. Where you
Yeah.
gotta go. You can use those magnet trains
Yeah,
to
yeah.
collect ore, and they'll figure that out. I mean, there's multiple versions. There's Ticket to Ride Europe, Ticket to Ride Asia. There are maps on Board Game Geek like forums where you can download maps and just play, because it's not like, as long as you have the pieces, the map doesn't matter. I think there's even a free print play version somewhere where you can just download
I'm sure there is
the map, and you just download little pieces or use whatever, like use jelly beans as your train. So yeah, I mean, I know right now there's a Target one called Ticket to New York, and it's like 1950s New York. So it's just
That's
like a
cool.
small island. It's a 2-player game. Like, it's almost like a very basic, like even more basic than this version.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I recommend it. I
Yeah,
can't recommend it enough.
I'm glad you brought it over. I'm glad that was for our second episode. It's another gateway game that I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun. Does not take long to learn, and it can definitely be like, okay, what else is out there?
Yeah.
Where can I take this train to?
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot out there. We could definitely, like I said, maybe next time we'll try a different
I'd love that.
country or expansion, because I do add a little bit every time depending on the map. If there's water on the map, I think they add like
They gotta
barges almost. I never played a different version, so I'd be curious to play
Right.
like a Europe or a Antarctica or whatever else they have out there. But that kind of wraps up our games segment.
Choo choo.
So let's look into Kickstarter, see if there's any new Kickstarters out there. I actually found a miss this week.
Oh, really?
We'll call it Brian's Misses. We have a game called COVIDiots, the board game.
Oh no.
It's exactly what you think. It's a humorous take on government approach to the lockdown.
Oh God. How much is it?
They're trying to get $11,000.
Holy crap.
As of now, they have $3,000. With 13 days to go, as of April 24th, 2021, they're at $3,000.
All right.
So they're almost there. They got this. It might be over by the time this episode comes out, actually. But they're touting a 2 to 6 player, 45 to 60 minute gameplay. It looks like a bunch of dice, little figures with what looks like maybe Trump.
Jesus Christ.
And some other fun politicians. It's just,
I
don't like to poo-poo on anybody, but it's just like, I don't know what this is. Like, it just seems like they're very anti.
So, unlike Marvel from last week, Marvel United, this is not something that I am not.
This is something I am not backing.
So
but
they could be happy. How much is it to pledge?
To support them, it's $1. This is all in euros. I don't know how to convert euro. Oh, okay, never mind. It says it about $2. I don't even know. They have to go for a print play copy. It's only $14.
Oh, that's not bad. Maybe we should get it.
I
might have to get it.
Stay
tuned, listeners.
I'm willing to pay $14 to get the board game itself. It's about $42.
Ugh.
That's
steep.
It's not a pretty looking game. Like, this is one you'll have to seek on your own. Anytime I'm gonna bash on these games, I'm not putting them on our Instagram because as funny as it is, I feel bad. So COVIDiots is the game. That's my not back this week. However, there's a game coming out that I will back. A game called Heroes of Barcadia. It's not even on Kickstarter yet, but they are promoting hard on the gram.
This one's cool. This is the one where you get to drink, right?
Yes. So this is a drinking game. They're touting it as some kind of like almost a dungeon crawl-esque type game, where it's tiles that kind of flip. So as your character's moving through, the tile flips, and there's a pun on a monster, which it just looks fun. Like it's like the one I'm looking at now is like a fire-breathing flagon. But the coolest thing I think is the glass. It comes with steins. It comes with 6 different steins, and they're your character. You put your drink inside, and it has tiered marks,
Cool.
which is your health. So if you're fighting a monster and it hits you, it says take 2 drinks. You drink until the line.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's something different. Like they did a game years ago, and I think it was called like Drunk Quest, and it was very similar, but not as well done. But the art looks great. As I said, it's not on there yet, but it's definitely one I'm gonna back. It's from Roll a Crit on Instagram. Like I said, I'll definitely tag them on Instagram because that's something I'm excited for, and I think they need some support once their Kickstarter starts up. That's kind of it. That's my Kickstarter minute. That's my hit and miss of the week.
Sounds good to me.
So let's end our podcast with our usual fare of Super Fight. Like I said, Super Fight, just a quick card game. 2 people randomly drawn. So we have a nudist and a wizard. The nudist throws knives and can't stop laughing. The wizard has a body that's very sticky and breathes fire.
You can go first.
It's the wizard.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I feel like I thought we may have to both fight and argue, but there's nothing that it's okay. The stickiness is all right. So he throws a knife and it just, what if it misses but still sticks to him, and then he just breathes fire. It's game over.
Yeah, I don't. That's what I mean. Sometimes it's going to be hit or miss. But if you're out there and you think,
we'll throw it up on the gram.
I mean, you know what though?
If
a naked guy's run at me throwing knives
and laughing hysterically, I'm avoiding it.
You know what?
But it's a wizard, and we've seen what Doctor Strange can do.
But you got the guy with his little Johnson flopping around. I mean, I'm going to be like, what? And he's laughing maniacally.
I'm going to be terrified.
With a knife.
I'm going to be terrified.
Even if I'm breathing fire, I might be running. I don't know. That's not bad.
It'd be very curious.
Or a hot chick.
All right, so the nudist, yeah. If it's a hot whatever you're into.
True.
There's a possibility that this is just confusing, and you're too busy staring at whatever you're into, and they throw a knife, and they're laughing about it, so you think you should laugh too, and it's fine. But the wizard's going to stop it.
Yeah, I mean,
the wizards don't put up with
that
shit.
You're naked, getting fire breathed on you.
Yeah.
It's just like, you don't even have armor to defend you. I mean,
you're done. Dunzo.
Yeah.
Game over.
Man, that one stunk.
That did stink.
But
I like it.
That's the point of the game.
I like this bit. All right, this is the knock 'em out, punch 'em out super fight.
Sponsored by any sponsor wants to
Totally Tease.
Totally Tease.
All
right, well,
I think that
was
it.
Week 2. We did it. I mean,
yeah, we did. We're chugging along. No pun intended.
Oh, we're getting through my collection, which my wife will be happy about.
Mm-hmm. We'll start giving them away too.
No, I didn't say that. That's her idea, not mine. But thanks for listening. Be sure to follow the Instagram, follow the Twitter, Facebook. Still trying to figure out that BGG Guild.
Subscribe.
It costs Geek Gold. So if you want to send Geek Gold to BAMMARVEL04
hit them up.
Give me some Geek Gold to start the guild. If not, I have to spend money. But again, thanks for listening.
Remember to rate us and subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Yeah, promote us. We're trying. We're getting out there. We're spreading the goodness of games.